Hi guys, welcome back to Dev Astrology. Today we are going to be talking about Jupiter's transit into the sign of Gemini, and this video is being shot for the sign of Scorpio. So you can watch this video both for a Scorpio rising as well as for Scorpio moon sign perspective. Now guys, this video we are going to be talking about the transit of Jupiter for the duration of May 14th all the way till October 18th. So somewhere around October 14th or 18th, if I remember my dates correctly. Now, Jupiter will move into its sign of exaltation later in the second half of October. It will stay there, then become retrograde, and in Jan 2026, again, it will be back in the sign of Gemini. However, this video is being shot only from May till October perspective because we are going to do a fresh video of the exaltation as well as the retrograde movement. Without further ado, folks, let's jump into the reading and understand what is the transit of Jupiter in Gemini in your 8th house going to be entailing in for you. Now, guys, Jupiter is an important planet for you and he holds pretty important positions. He is the ruler of your second house as well as your fifth house. So, it's a Yug Karaka planet in your case, Scorpios. And his movement into the eighth house is a mixed bag movement in my mind. Yet, I will have my inclination towards the positive side of things. Now, you all know, and if you've been following me for a considerable amount of time, you understand that I'm not a huge fan of planets moving into the eighth house. You would know how appalled, frustrated, upset I was whilst the loving lord for Scorpios, which is Mars, was sitting in the eighth house in the sign of Gemini. And similarly, Jupiter also does not have a great relationship with Mercury, who's the ruler of Gemini sign. However, you guys are also aware that Jupiter is the only planet that I am okay with coming into the eighth house. So, when your second lord and your fifth lord comes into the eighth house, there is going to be a lot of transformation, suddenness, which is going to come into play. First and foremost, you have to understand what the eighth house entails. It means sudden transformations. It means reformation. It means changes. It's the phoenix rising in Scorpios. You understand that to the core, to the zilt, because that is so very natural for you folks. You are continuously evolving, reshaping, repurposing yourself throughout your lives. Jupiter happens to be the lord of your family. He happens to be a Yog Karaka planet from a second house perspective. He is a Karaka planet for the second house. He denotes the kind of food you consume, the kind of family you have, your speech, your informal interactions, your bank balance, your savings. It denotes your early upbringing, your initial education that comes into play. And he is also responsible for your creativity, for your startup success, for your investment strategies, for the stock market for that matter. It denotes your education, your formal degree and education for that matter. It showcases your romantic life, your kids, your children, your ability to think outside the box, your graduation degree, and your past life punya as well. So when that lord comes into the eighth house, which is all about suddenness, unexpected gains, speculative gains coming into life, it becomes a very interesting combination. One thing is for sure that money houses are getting dramatically connected for Scorpios and for nobody else. See, because the lord of fifth, the lord of second is in connection with a planet that rules lord of 8th and the lord of house of gains, 11th house, Mercury. So the way your 2nd, 11th, 8th and 5th houses are getting connected, it is not something happening for any of the zodiac signs. And this becomes extremely powerful because money, materialism, gains, financial related matters are going to become such a humongous priority for you folks whilst Jupiter is transiting into the sign of Gemini. Now, first of all, I want to clear off the areas that are a word of caution, that are a word of worry for me. When a planet moves into the eighth house, health dramatically is impacted. I'm pretty sure many of you would have felt the repercussions of Mars movement into the eighth house as well. Getting fever, down, being down sick, having minor accidents, etc., would have been pretty common for you. And many of you would have faced that, and there would have been an uneasiness, lack of mental peace that could have crept when it was just your Lagna Lord. Now, when the Lord of your second and fifth comes into the eighth, this is where it becomes tricky from a health perspective. You will have to be watchful from your health standpoint because Jupiter happens to be Jiva, Jeev Karaka. In Gemini astrology, he is known as Jiva itself. Then the other bit that comes critical is that you will have to be watchful with respect to the health of your kids as well. Your education, your stock markets, I think I see a positive inside there, and I'm going to come to that in a bit. But your food consumption, eating frozen food, eating food which has been kept in the refrigerator for a while may not be a great option during this period. This is going to be a period where you could see some bit of suddenness creep in with respect to your language, your communication. Why do I say that? Because coming into the sign of Gemini, you might build a tendency of snapping at people, especially your family members, people who are interacting with you on Zoom calls, Google Meet calls, WhatsApp, on Instagram. You might find me giving weird articulation maybe during the course of this period. Being a Scorpio with Jupiter coming in Gemini, I might be doing similar kind of mistakes, so please bear with me. But in this period, that is highly possible because I'm again on YouTube, interfacing with so many of you globally. Even in your formal communication at your formal place, I would recommend you to practice some sort of caution. However, at the same time, that snapping behavior, that spontaneous reaction may not be something which could be driven from a place of maligness. It will not be driven from a place of negativity. You would be reacting to situations because at the end of the day, this Jupiter is going to enthrall you with a very positive long-term goal. Why do I say long-term goal? Because somewhere or the other, transformations lead to long-term impacts. And Jupiter's presence in the 8th house is going to bring significant amount of transformation in you. It is going to impact your way of thinking, your way of operating, your way of communication with your family. It is going to uplift you in all those areas. It is going to make you learn new things. Jupiter here is going to give you an opportunity to excel whilst you prepare, research, deep dive into matters that you've not thought of before. And that is going to become extremely important and highly nuanced thing that, that separates Scorpios from everybody else. You could deep dive into research of any kind. You could deep dive into learning new subjects that have not been the core of your life so far in your career, in your educational life, or whatever you do for that matter. You could be a homemaker, but you might embark upon learning astrology for that matter, just out of curiosity, not that you intend to make money out of it. But this is also going to be a stupendous period who are doing something related to astrology, who are in this field. This could be a phenomenal period for you to make exorbitant amount of gains. Now, remember, I told in my Saturn video in its transit to Pisces, which if you've not had a chance to watch, I recommend you to please go ahead and check that video as well. But Saturn stated in Pisces is giving an aspect, 10th aspect to your second house itself, but it is Jupiter which is going to be coming and bringing that savior mindset to your chart. Second Lord placed into the 9th house is going to bring some level of transformation with your activities related to your family. You are going to reshape your finances during the course of this period. You are going to completely overhaul, rehaul, and revisit the way you earn, save money. That is going to be a priority for you, and that is going to be the transformation, Scorpios, that you are going to embark upon. The second bit is, there is a very strong potential of you to reshape your health. I anticipate that there could be some challenges from a health perspective, but it will also give you the opportunity to work on your diet, to consume sattvic food, or maybe make a phenomenal shift in the way you are consuming the macros and the micros in your food. You might start monitoring your carbs, proteins, your fat or whatever, as well as the minerals from a micros perspective. And that's a dramatic shift in your approach towards health, towards the quality of food you consume is going to be important. Remember, I had given a different picture when we were talking about Saturn. Now, whilst this transit is happening, Saturn will be going retrograde. It will become conjunct with in Aquarius in your fourth house, and we will revisit that bit as well when that happens in July. But once this shift happens from the second half of May, you are going to see that dramatic change coming into your life as well. And dramatic, it will be in sense of abundance. I see abundance for you guys from your family perspective because Jupiter is giving an aspect back to his own sign, to his own house of Sagittarius in your second house. Your family is going to expect, or your family is going to see some sort of growth come in. There is a possibility that there could be some unexpected pregnancy related issues which could come into life. Now, this is where I would not be able to tell you just through a transit reading itself as to what could be the impact, but the fifth lord coming into the eighth can negatively impact your children, or if you are planning for your progeny. However, if you have a strong Jupiter placed in your chart with the Shadbalas being right and Dasha Antardashas are being conducive for you in your life, then probably the impact or the negative impact that I'm alluding to might go away. Now, you have to also understand that the fifth house denotes stock market investments, and more often than not, Jupiter will give you a positive outcome with respect to some kind of speculative gains. But Saturn's presence in the sign of Pisces is giving you a different indicator, and that is where I would want you to practice some sort of caution. If you are making educated moves, calculated risks are going to definitely pay you off much better when compared to gambling for that matter. And that is why, folks, I will highly recommend you to refrain from being too speculative. Remove guesswork out of your life because that is not going to give you substantial results during this period. Jupiter also indicates that there could be unexpected pregnancy and a positive movement that might come into play for some of you. You might not have planned for that, but it might work out in a positive direction. Then the other bit that I expect is that people who are trying to start their new startups, people who are likely to embark upon new initiatives, you are going to find some sudden change, most probably a positive one coming your direction. Now, that could be with respect to a foreign connection, that could be with respect to an unexpected deal project coming in your way that you least anticipated, or it could be with respect to some sort of benefit that you could derive from larger network circles. Profession, if combined, or profession if associated with creative industries, with acting, with vocational activities, with consulting businesses, with banking and financial spaces, with law, with back-end services from a financial domain, like the back office of Wall Street for that matter. All of those areas where you have to wear that thinking hat, where you have to be meticulous to guide your customers, there is a very high probability of some sudden work coming in your way. Now, for my technology enthusiasts, people who are working in areas that are related to research, who are working in areas related to AI for that matter, prompt engineering, genetic AI, fine-tuning of LLMs, stuff like that, high-end technology work which is yet not very visible, which is not very apparent, and in the backdrop of things, semiconductor-related industries, you are going to see a substantial improvement, increase in all those areas as well. Jupiter is going to entice you in all those areas, and it is going to give you a lot of learning, a lot of exposure in that segment of the business. And the other bit you will have to understand is that this Jupiter is going to help you if you want to double down on your research, if you are associated with some sort of research, spy activities, you are going to find definitive success coming your way. Embarking upon PhD engagements, PhD projects, embarking on new learning. And when I say research could be of any matter, folks, one person who is a Scorpio man is a homemaker and he is looking forward to learn new subjects or cross train himself outside of making different kinds of cuisine as a cook, would be able to succeed doing that. You might develop a huge interest in those areas. And on the other side, there is a woman who is interested to, let's say, learn occult, and she is a career going person, but this is going to be a period where she is going to deep dive, learn those topics, maybe not be an astrologer yet, gain a lot of success in that field, maybe able to decipher the blueprint of her own life. So that kind of exposure where you do not have a horseshoe vision, but you are seeing from a wider spectrum of things, a wider perspective of things, that sort of a behavioral change is also anticipated with Jupiter here. People who are in teaching, who are in mentorship, you are going to take up some research assignments yourself. Teaching assistant work during your PhD programs will be worthwhile. You will be able to derive incomes out of it. People who are associated in the food industry as well are going to see a lot of growth, success, good marketing strategies is what you will be able to plan during this phase. Now, of course, we have understood the significances of it being the second and the fifth lord being in the eighth, impact on the eighth house itself. But you have to also understand here that Jupiter is giving three aspects. He's giving an aspect to your 12th house, to your second house, and to your fourth house. And there is a very definitive connection with the foreign elements coming into your life, which I was alluding before as well. Yes, it is going to expand to a certain extent on your expenses. You might want to purchase something new. You might want to invest in certain areas. And thereby, for example, investment in gold might be a meticulous strategy from your end at this point in time. If you are looking forward to invest big for larger future returns, maybe for your business, maybe if you're in a job for a home purchase. And remember, Jupiter is giving an aspect to the fourth house. So property related purchases, house purchase, big affluent purchases with respect to movable, immovable property like your car, vehicle, high-end phones, your bike and stuff, all of those areas. Now, expenses with an asset are definitely correlated. And that is why I'm saying that the aspect of Jupiter in terms of bringing those expenses will not be a negative one, because it might result into you acquiring an asset. Maybe some gold bar, maybe investing in jewelry. Maybe you will also find another good option that comes into play is that many of you folks, Scorpios, will be traveling into far foreign lands, and you might end up purchasing property in an international location as well, far away from your current place of residence. That is going to be a possibility for many of you Scorpios, so do not undermine and disassociate with that. If you've been thinking of making a purchase, you've been working somewhere else, but you've been planning that I must buy a property and maybe invest it with Airbnb, Verbo sort of websites with booking.com and see that, how I can have a side income growing in, that possibility might come into picture. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the will, insurance, inheritance related matters, but Jupiter's presence in the 8th house and its connection with that 5th, 2nd, 11th houses coming into play definitely also indicates that from your family perspective. Remember at the start of the video, I alluded to suddenness coming into your family, and I was not double downing on it, but given that we are doing this detailed video, you have to understand that there could be some bad news that might also percolate down for some of you Scorpios, but it would result into windfall gains, unexpected gains coming in the form of insurance, coming in the form of accidental coverage, something of that sort. It's not the income that you've earned, but it comes to you. And that is why that aspect of Jupiter into the second house becomes critical. But I do anticipate that whilst that might happen, there is also a possibility that you, in conjunction with your family, with the support of your family, might find some avenues to expand on your wealth. The least when you anticipate it, the least when you expect it, Scorpios. If you start expecting and counting your beans, it's not going to materialize. So just let it slide, let it fly by. But continue to work. Your satisfaction should be in the level of creativity that you bring to the table. 8th house is 4th to 5th. You should enjoy if you are investing in certain areas. Strategize around it, research around it. Many of you would want to start up new avenues in life. You might want to embark upon a new journey, a new business proposition for that matter. Research what you have to entail. Research what you would have to plan. And you will be able to succeed in terms of finding the right data points that otherwise would not have meant to happen. So somewhere I see that blessing of Jupiter, blessing of Sri Hari, Shiva coming into our lives, where the family, the food, the quality of life is going to improve. And Jupiter is the savior for anything negative that could happen with Saturn's transit. Jupiter is the savior here, folks. Even when Rahu and Saturn will become conjunct with Saturn's retrograde motion, remember Jupiter at least till October mid will still be aspecting both of those planets into your fourth house itself. And Jupiter's aspect into the fourth house is so phenomenal because it is promising an improvement of health for your mother. It is promising an improvement of mindset shift coming into play. You thinking from a broader horizon perspective. Rahu is already talking about expansion in your fourth house, and we will be doing a double click deep dive into this later in the week, next week, where we will be shooting the Rahu and Ketu transit videos as well to give you a holistic view as to what can be anticipated with that transit. But Jupiter definitely is going to give you an indicator that from your fourth house significances perspective, there is going to be expansion. It's the ninth aspect and a powerful, beautiful one. So from your mental peace perspective, from your emotions perspective, from your expansion of your property, wealth, knowledge perspective, this is a fabulous transit and you must grab this opportunity with both hands, Scorpios. Yes, you will undergo transformation. Yes, you will feel pain. Yes, there will be situations where you would feel like giving up, but you will have to collect yourself because an unseen, unknown blessing is behind your back. Don't let squander this opportunity. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. If you have, then please smash on that like button, subscribe to Dev Astrology and keep watching.